season at Clemson, Erik Bakich has led the Tigers to 133 victories, which is the most in the ACC during that time span. During his 3 seasons, he has coached 6 All-Americans. He's been a head coach for 16 seasons with stops at Maryland and Michigan before becoming the 28th head coach at Clemson in the summer of 2022. A great friend to the SCBCA, please welcome to the stage, Erik Bakich.
All right, everybody stand up. Stand up, stand up, stand up. All right, take your right hand, palm up. Take your left hand, make a pointer finger. All right, now I want you to take your pointer finger, put it in the person to your left, put it in their palm. Say, I'm glad you're here. Some of you just go like this. Right. I'm glad you're here. All right, now switch hands. Now person to your right. Put it in. Say, I'm glad you're here. All right, now take your finger, put it in your own palm. Say, I'm glad I'm here. All right, now partner up, real quick. Partner up, partner up, partner up. We're going to play fast hand game. Everyone got a partner? Got a partner? Got a partner? All right, one hand behind your back. One hand behind your back. Make numbers 1 through 5. Don't show your partner. On the count of 3, you're going to pull your hands out, both of you, show each other, and see who can count up the sum of both hands the fastest. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Try again. Here we go. Different number. Ready? Set. 1, 2, 3. Okay, find a new partner. All right, now this time on the count of 3, you're going to multiply. See who gets it first. Ready? 1, 2, 3. All right, here we go. One more time. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Alright, okay, MC.
Thanks, bro.
I appreciate you late nighters. I'm going to have to squint my way through this. I gave my only pair of glasses to the plate up in our last scrimmage. So, anyway, my talk is called Nuggets. All right, instead of talking about one thing, I had a list of 35 things, but 10 nuggets made the cut. You come to these clinics, it's like a buffet. You just kind of pick and choose whatever you like. So hopefully, of the 10 things, you grab 1, 2, however many help you, help your program, whatever. The first nugget is icebreakers. We just did 3 of them. You guys all get up in front and talk to people. You guys all do presentations. Those are easy icebreakers. Get the crowd, get the audience participating, having fun, and break up the monotony of just sitting and watching. I've got a lot of different ones. Do a ball clap drill where have everyone stand up and they clap every time the ball changes hands. Then at the end of it, you put all your stuff away, say thanks for the standing O, and walk out. Right? There's a lot of cool stuff you can do, but you got to get the crowd in. All right, we'll jump right in with vision. All right, this is something everyone wants to talk mechanics all the time about everything but vision. If you can't see the ball, it'll be real hard to hit the ball. So everybody, I had a cool video, but Eddie says it's $100 to get the audio, so we wrapped it. So no video. So watch the Steve Springer video if you've seen it already. Really good about hard focus, soft focus. We're going to do a hard focus, soft focus drill right now. Everybody hold number 1 up in front of you. All right, now I want you to look past your 1. And when you look past the 1, there's 2 1s, and whatever's in focus behind it. Now hard focus on your finger. Now you see 1, 1, and everything's blurry behind it. You just did a soft focus, hard focus drill. Same thing when hitters hit. You want to soft focus the entire pitcher. Soft focus his delivery, soft focus him, maybe see the shortstop, see the second baseman, see the batter's eye, just kind of see everything. All right? Just like your muscles with contraction, loose muscles are faster than tense muscles. Okay, the muscles in the eye are no different. So having a relaxed eye gaze with a soft focus is really important for pitch recognition and making plate decisions. So you see everything, and as he starts his delivery and that arm starts to come forward, then we shift our eyes to the release point because we've been paying attention in the on-deck circle and in the dugout where that release point is and hard focus in on that. We've all had our eyes cut and glanced to a ceiling fan, and all of a sudden it's like the Matrix, and you see that one blade, right? That's kind of, you can pick up grip, you can pick up fingers, you can pick up ball coming out of the hand if you eye flicked in hard focus to the release point. So soft focus, hard focus. I'm sure this is nothing new. I just think it's really important because it's, for some reason, doesn't get taught a whole lot at our level, at many levels, because everybody's so locked in on just teaching how to swing instead of being a hitter. All right, so pitchers I think can do it too. Soft focus everything and hard focus in on their target. All right, be able to see the whole battery, see the catcher, see the umpire, see the hitter, and then be able to hard focus in exactly when they know what the pitch call is, and be able to hard focus in on exactly where they're trying to throw it, not just the box. All right, so soft focus, hard focus, good for both hitting and pitching, but mostly applicable to hitting. Timing. All right, again, in the world of always, we love to teach swing mechanics, but if you're not on time, that's a great way to get your mechanics to break down because you're either late or you're too early and then you got to start again and then you're late. But timing is really important. We say hit your windows. For us, hitting your windows is how we talk about being on time. Window 1 and window 2 is what we say. Window 1 is whether the pitcher is in the windup or the stretch. Window 1 is he shows you his ass. That's when you start to gather your energy and show him yours. All right, so he could be a slide stepper or he could be a slow delivery. It doesn't matter. It's cheek to cheek. All right, so he gathers, you gather. Window 2 is as he's making a forward move with his arm and his arm's coming forward, we're making a forward move to him. So hit your windows. Window 1, window 2. Window 1, he gathers his energy, you gather yours. Window 2, his arm's coming forward, you're going forward. If you do that, you'll always be on time to hit the fastball. If we are sitting soft, which is hard for me to ever come off the heater, but there's times where we have to do it because some programs in certain situations are spin to win. So we're sitting soft, and if that's the case, and we are sitting soft, and it's instead of a 90-something mile an hour pitch, it's a 70-something mile an hour pitch, then our timing is just delayed a little bit. And we'll start window 1 a little bit later, and we'll start window 2 as he's releasing the ball instead of the arm coming forward. But it depends on the speed of the pitch. If it's a velo slider that's still 86, we'll still keep it the same. All right, so that's timing. Hit your windows. Number 3 is our approaches. We've actually switched this up this year. We all have different approaches of how we want our hitters to be ready to hit. But we felt like we needed to shore this up to be able to make adjustments pitch to pitch. Because we don't. What ends up happening is our hitters just start guessing. We go up there and we say, "Oh, we're going to be on the fastball," and this guy doesn't land his breaking ball very much, and then sure enough, he lands his breaking ball first pitch, and now they're on a yo-yo and guessing. So the ability to be able to toggle between approaches, most of the time we'll keep that same approach for the entire AB, but it does give us the flexibility to switch it. So approach is just all about scoring runs. Our offense is predicated on scoring runs. We want to do damage, right? So a lot of this is trying to inflict as much of a smash opportunity as we can by being disciplined to our approach. And sometimes that forces the opposition to throw more pitches. We get in the bullpen earlier. But the idea, the framework here is we can't cover all 17 inches of the plate and all 4 pitches. So we break the plate down and it's 17 inches into 7 balls. I know you guys have all heard this before. But if it's 1 to 7 from in to away, whether you're a righty or a lefty, and our approaches are predicated based on what we're doing and where on those numbered balls, where we're going to be looking. All right, so that's kind of the idea here. If we're in fastball spit, we are just going to disarm the heater. We are on the fastball. And 3, 4, 5 are your middle of the zone pitches. And the ability to not only swing at pitches over the heart, but be able to actually make contact with those is obviously very important, especially on fastballs. There's some guys that do get swing and miss on their fastball in the zone. Those dudes are really good, but most of the guys, we should be able to square up a fastball in the zone, especially over the heart. So if we're just taking away that heater, maybe he doesn't have a good secondary stuff, or maybe his secondary stuff is so good that you can't hit it anyways, even if you're sitting on it. So you might as well try to make him a one-pitch guy. So fastball spin means we're on the fastball, we're spitting on everything else, and we're hunting the middle of the plate. All right? Fastball adjust is where we most of the time will default to your typical, steady Eddie starter that just is got, a good fastball, he's got command of a breaking ball, got a changeup as a third pitch, but he's mostly a two-pitch guy with an occasional third pitch to a righty or lefty, depending on who he is. And fastball adjust means we're going to look fastball middle away, so we're on that 3 through 6 fastball. Where the rhythm of our swing is to be able to hit it in the oppo gap, but if he drops in a breaking ball to steal an early strike, a glove strike breaking ball, get me over pitch. Well, if the rhythm of our swing is to be on the fastball 3 to 6, middle away, we'll still also be on time to catch that hanging breaking ball out front and pull it down the line. So let's just be able to cover 2 different speeds, 2 different pitches. One goes in the oppo gap, where that's our mentality. The other goes down the line on an off-speed pitch. Next one is sit in. And sit in is just, we think he's going to try to stuff us in. He's one of those guys, a crossfire guy, or he can really pitch inside, which if I was a pitching coach, is literally what I would do, is just book everybody as a default and then adjust from there. Because hitters, it's so hard to cover the fastball in and the off-speed away. You got to pick one. You can't cover both. It's easy to cover the fastball away and hit the hangers and pull them. But when they pitch in, and they pitch in a lot, and they also can go soft away, it's hard to cut. You just can't cover both of those. It's really hard to cover both of those. So we'll pick the fastball in, and we'll get in there and turn on it. All right? And then if they switch and they're living away and everything's nibble away, then we'll sit away. And our go zone just turns out to be out over the plate. Now sit in, we might be like 1 through 5 balls, and now sitting away we might be 3 through 6, or 4 through 6, something like that. We're just cutting the plate in half when we sit in and sit away. This half of the plate, that half of the plate. All right, and then sit soft is just understanding the shape of the guy's off-speed pitch. So, hitting curveballs are obviously easier to hit than sliders. Nobody hits good changeups, but the curveball, if it's a depth curveball, then just knowing where it needs to start so it lands in that zone in the middle. And so when we sit soft, we just train. A lot of times we'll do box adjust drills in the cages, where we'll scoot up in the box and make it a hanging breaking ball, and then we'll get out of the box or all the way in the back and make it a bounce pitch or a pitch below the zone, just to understand the difference between the height and depth of the pitch. So wanting it to land over the heart, we got to know where it needs to start based on the shape. Right? If he's got sweep to it, then left-hander with a big backdoor breaking ball, it's going to start up there. Right? Guy with big depth's got to start maybe, we'll say, hunt above the letters or whatever, whatever it is. But sitting soft is important. You can't just sit soft and chase. You got to know where the go zone is, where it needs to start. All right, 2 strikes is all about winning pitches. It's not about getting hits. It's about winning pitches and trying to spoil the good pitches and put the barrel on the ball. We talked about smash and battle. So with less than 2 strikes, there's 2 for us. There's 2 counts in baseball. There's less than 2 strikes and 2 strikes. And with less than 2 strikes, it's smash. We're trying to get our best swing off and do as much damage and be as disciplined to our approach so we can hit the ball as hard as we possibly can. With 2 strikes, one is your AB, the other is the team AB. When it gets to 2 strikes, it's a team AB. It's no longer your AB with 2 strikes. It's now a team AB. It's gritty, not pretty. It's put the barrel on it. And instead of smash, it's battle. And battle, barrel, just find a way to put the barrel on the ball. Sometimes you just got to spoil pitches, and fight to see the next one. And just at our level, putting the ball in play, and at all of our level, putting the ball in play is really important. Because the worst fielding MLB team would be the very best fielding collegiate and high school team. Right? So actually applying pressure to defense. I think that's why big leaguers maybe are okay with striking out, because a strikeout or a ground ball to short is the same result, you're out. But at our level, that's totally different. There's a lot of value in putting the ball in play. And there also is the batting average on balls in play with 2 strikes. The batting average for righties and lefties, I don't know if you can see that, but it's below 190 for both, but the batting average on balls in play with 2 strikes is like 322. So there's a lot of value in putting the ball in play and finding a way. You can see, with these heat maps, most people live away with 2 strikes. The beauty of our 2-strike approach, we don't just say, oh, we're just going to sit on fastball away and adjust. We could go to any of those 5 approaches based on what the opposing pitcher is going to do. So we got a lot of pitchers in our league that will try to stick it in there with 2 strikes just to freeze you in. And if that's their MO, then we'll be able to sit in with 2 strikes. But most of the time, and the stats and the data shows, people like to live away with 2 strikes. And if you're looking out there and you know it's not a fastball, it's probably going to be off the plate, and it's an easy spit once it starts out there. Plate decisions is next, and this is another one. We teach swing mechanics all day long, but don't always talk about plate decisions or swing decisions. And so really, to sum this up, do you swing at strikes and do you take balls? And looking at this chart, all right, this is a run expectancy chart. And the run expectancy on throwing a center cut pop shot is the same as a waste pitch ball. In other words, if it's an auto take, and this would be my message to the pitchers, wasting pitches doesn't make a whole lot of sense, where it never looks like a strike at any time out of the guy's hand. It's a true waste pitch. It's never a strike out of hand. It never enters anywhere near the strike zone. It's an auto take, and it instantly improves the count for the hitter. And it's because of that, because it's an auto take and the count instantly improves no matter what the count is, the run expectancy on that waste pitch is also really high. That says waste and that says heart. So a pitch over the heart and a waste pitch have similar run expectancy. Right? So our guys, trying to get them to swing at as many pitches over the heart of the plate as possible. We like shoot to 100%, but in reality, the best hitters in college baseball, they swing at about 3 out of every 4 pitches over the heart. And then, do you swing at pitches in the zone? Do you take pitches out of the zone, which is another way of saying chase? If you're being able to control the zone, and then do you just make correct decisions? So we chart this in yes/no bullpens, where we're standing in and they say yes, whatever the approach is, they say yes or no. If we're on fastball spin, or if we're on fastball adjust, or sits off. But obviously it shows up in the inner squats in the games the most. And I umpire. And I would encourage all the coaches to umpire as well. So when I go argue, I have a little ammo. Like, I do this too, and my number's better. No, it's a great look. It's a great look at how your pitcher's stuff plays. And it's a great look at the decisions the hitters are making. And I think it's a really unique lens to be able to get back there and umpire all the scrimmages. So I think it's a little bit of a cheat code from a coaching standpoint to really see kind of the ins and outs from that angle. But I'll ask the hitters as they're coming up, what's your approach here? And see if they can execute it. And if they don't, right, a lot of times you don't make good decisions. Well, what is it? A lot of it goes back to timing. They just weren't on time. There's so many things that break down when guys just aren't on time. And these are like under-taught skills now because everybody's so enamored with exit below and launch angle and swing mechanics that they forget to be a hitter. You gotta see the ball. You gotta have good approach, and you gotta make good decisions at the plate. There's a lot that goes into before the bat hits the ball. So we'll check where you're on time. We'll check window 1, window 2. And then, probably the one that's most applicable is the yes/no bullpens. If your pitchers are throwing bullpens, put the hitters in there and have them stand in and just track pitches. And you get a little sawed-off bat, the million of them, or they just get in there and just say yes or no. I think that's super valuable, and it's become a real thing in our program where happens every time unless our pitching coach says, hey, I really want to slow it down and work with our pitcher because he's this or that, or trying to add a pitch, or really focus on working on something. But 90+% of the time, we got hitters standing in the bullpens. All right. And so plate decisions are one of our KPIs for key performance indicators for offense. Quality contact is another one. And quality contact is what you guys think it is. It's the combination of how hard you hit it and where it goes once you hit it. And so everybody loves to talk about exit, velo, and launch, and they are really important. If you think about what impacts distance of a ball that's hit, well, it is how hard it goes off the bat. It is the trajectory with which it goes, but it's also the spin, and there's also the factor called wind that all impact distance. And we train a lot for exit velo. We train a lot, not as much for exit velo as we do for launch angle. Nobody, I don't think, has a good solution for training for spin other than trying to match swing plane to pitch planes. Hopefully you can backspin it, but just like in golf, there's such a thing as too much spin. Doesn't play as much in baseball. But for exit velo, we look at, okay, what is your peak? How hard, what's your PR? How hard can you hit it? What's your average exit velo? I think that's important. And a hard hit percentage. I use 95 for college baseball, 85 for high school kids when they come to camp. It's like, you're a high school kid, can you hit it 85? And everyone's like, oh, I can hit it 85. We'll say, well, can you hit it 85 4 out of 5 swings in batting practice? Oh, well, and a couple of misfires. So, those work well. And I'll ask people, like, what's a good hit? Like, we got all this information now at the tip of our fingers, but how many people can articulate what a good hit is? So for us, when we talk about launch angle, we talk about hitting it between 0 and 30 in training. If you can hit it between 0 and 30 at 95 or better, that would be what we call a hard hit. And then there's that stat, Baseball Savant and in the big leagues called barrels, that the harder you hit it, the higher it can go in degrees of launch. And we just kind of simplified it and just said, if you want to hit the ball over 30 degrees of launch, it has to be over 100 miles an hour. And for every degree of launch over 30, that's 1 mile an hour over 100. So if you hit it 35 degrees, you better hit it 105. If you hit it 40, you better be at 110. And the math actually maths on that, and it actually would be a home run. But it's just to get the guys to train at a level lower because everybody loves to hit medium fly balls in batting practice. Right, so we talk more about what percentage of the time. People who say average launch angle, I just scratch my head. Like you pop one up at 60 degrees, and you hit one, straight into the ground at -30, and then your average launch angle is this perfect head-high line drive. Right, like average launch angle doesn't make any sense. Instead, talk about the percentage of the time you hit it between 0 and 30, or 10 to 30, or 15 to 20, or whatever your ideal launch angle is that you're training for. Work in percentages of how often you hit it there instead of average launch angle. You can do average exit velo, that's fine, but average launch angle is a dumb stat. All right, and so that's kind of quality contact. And if there's problems, if you got an exit velo opportunity for growth, you just don't hit it hard. Well, yeah, your swing may suck. And that's why technique is a big deal and having some kind of feedback of, what's going on with your swing. But a lot of times, the mechanics, the technique, your swing sucks because you were late. Your timing wasn't good. You didn't have an approach. You were guessing, and that made you late because you're more emergency swinging and your decisions aren't good. And then I see a lot of kids. It reminds me of going down all the rabbit holes with the Titleist Performance Institute like 8 years ago and getting all their certifications and listening to Greg Rose talk, and he's like the smartest guy I know. And he would say, when I work with a golfer, I tell him, do you want to improve your drive? Of course, every golfer says, yeah. He's like, well, I've got one easy solution for you to get more distance on your drive. I'm like, what? It's like, get a better driver. And it's with some of our guys, they're just like swinging a end-loaded 34-inch bat, and they just have no business swinging a 34 end-loaded bat. right? Some guys are big and strong and can handle a 34 end loaded bat, and they're swinging a 33 balance bat. So sometimes the equipment matters in baseball. Golf has these custom club fittings that go from A0 to G10 in terms of swing weight. They have these, balance point indexes of the club, the shaft, and everything. And baseball players walk over and they grab a bat and they go, yeah, that feels good, right? And they just pick up a bat. And I would encourage all the hitters we only get 32s, 33s, and 34s. They're either balanced or end loaded. Well, try them all out. We have our hitters test all of them, all the different bats. We're with Marucci now, so they even have a puck knob and half sizes. But we put all of our data and all of our measurements, and we see where do these guys handle the bat the best, where can they consistently hit the ball hard, but where do they have the best bat speed, where do they make the best quality contact. And it gets down to sometimes they just needed a better bat or a different bat. Right? If it's a physical problem, then this gets into their body and then maybe some mobility issues that they may have, which I'll get into in a second. But a lot of times, especially on the pitching side, guys with previous injuries, they're just not cutting it loose because they're afraid of getting hurt. They're hitting or pitching with the parking brake on. They've got a mental governor. You just don't want to do that. If it's a launch angle problem, again, your swing may suck. It may be a technique thing. Again, it comes down to your approach. And we had a guy last year, a big, strong, physical kid, and he wanted to hit the ball for power, but he was swinging down at down pitches. That's like dude, that's no recipe to hit the ball to the fence. You're swinging down at low pitches, and you're wondering why you hit ground ball. So for him, it was his attack angle, and this is where a lot of coaches I still see, even after the days of A-Rod, doing this forever. Attack angle, launch angle, totally different things. And understand, then you get guys like Teacher Man that are getting some of these young kids to dump the barrel and have this uphill swing, which works for dudes with grown-ass man strength. For young kids that don't have that grown man strength, they need to have a little bit of a steeper, flatter swing. For our guys, where our physicality is, college physicality players, we like the attack angle, the angle that their swing is coming through at a positive angle of 6 to 12. 6 to 12 will, for us, match swing plane to pitch plane and be pretty damn good. Right? But the weaker the kid is, if he hasn't hit that peak height velocity of a growth spurt yet and doesn't have that strength, he needs to be flatter, he needs to be steeper. He just cannot get the bat through the zone fighting gravity without that physicality. If you're not selling a product or you're not trying to get return customers because you work at a facility and there's not a scoreboard attached to it. If there's a scoreboard attached to it, you wouldn't tell the kid to do that. You weren't selling them a product, you wouldn't tell the kid to do that. You're trying to actually win a game. So that's kind of a big deal of making sure you find that sweet spot of where your kid swings the bat the fastest. But that's for launch angle problems. And then if they're not hitting it hard and they're not hitting it in the air, I heard that one of the previous speakers was talking about weighted bats. We use axe bats and we hit plyo balls as part of our pre-hit routine in the cages all the time. I think those are really good. And then once in a while in BP, I know we'd love to all stay middle of the field, but once in a while, every couple of weeks, it'll be like a PR round in batting practice. They have to pull it in the air. Because pull in the air is where you get your best, hardest, furthest distance and everything, quality contact. So we'll put a few rounds in the air and see how that goes. Consistent contact's our last KPI. So we got plate decisions, quality contact, consistent contact. Consistent contact, basically when you swing the bat touches the ball. And a lot of kids, the answer is no. And so we especially want them not only swinging it over the heart, but we want them when they do get pitches over the heart, that's where they need the bat needs to touch the ball. And you actually get points for this by just fouling it off. As long as the bat tips the ball, you get the point for that. But in-zone contact should be at least 60%. Fastball contact, being able to hit the fastball, 84, non-fastball contact 71, overall contact 78. But when you swing, do you hit the ball? And then if not, what are the reasons for it? Again, could be a technique problem, which comes back down. I'm always going to say, just hit your windows. Were you on time? Most of the time it's not. Well, what's your approach? What kind of decisions are you making? Okay, well then, if you're not hitting the ball, if you're just missing the ball, then it could be an attack angle thing. Most kids miss under the ball, not over the ball, and you see that a lot, as you guys see too. And so a lot of times it's just adjusting the way they're swinging to where they focus more on hitting the top of the ball instead of trying to match swing plane to pitch plane. It's no different than how we teach hit and runs or slash and runs. Is don't change your swing and all of a sudden chop down. Just take your swing and hit the top of the ball, right? And so just getting them to flatten out by hitting the top of the ball, and that's a really good one. And then it also could be a body mobility issue as well. I really like with this one. Different hand-eye drills, but hitting a mini thing with a mini bat is always good. Like a old school thunder stick, hitting mini wiffles, just to help overtrain it to where you really gotta train those eye muscles. And then the trace back swings are really good. So start at contact and then work back and then get back there. Especially for young kids, that works pretty good. All right, a lot of what I see is, when guys have mechanical problems, it's not that their swing sucks, it's a physical limitation. And this is like the golf world 101 is, instead of guess, you should assess. And what I see a common with a lot of baseball players, it's common swing flaw is they'll get ready to hit and you'll see this sway move. And we all know swaying is bad. We don't want to sway. Some guys sway and they get away with it, but it's usually not a good strategy because you go this way and then you go hard that way. But a lot of times the sway move, they just lack ankle mobility. They can't invert and evert the ankle. So just working on ankle mobility a lot of times will enable them keep that knee inside that foot and be able to load their energy in their back hip instead of swaying back. And so ankle mobility is a big one, especially with kids who sway. Probably hips and T-spine, like center of the universe stuff for rotary athletes and the ability to separate the pelvis and torso. But a lot of kids that can't separate, I think we all know and agree that the lower half starts to swing and the hips start to swing and you create separation because this stays closed and this starts to go. And kids who can't do that, a lot of times there just be a one-piece move, right? And they can't rotate their pelvis, and they can't rotate it this way, and they can't create separation. Which, when you create that elastic energy, that's what really can buggy whip the swing and really create a lot of club head speed. But kids who can't do that, it's usually a hip mobility problem. And sometimes I'll just put a bat between the guy's legs and say, all right, hands on hips, don't move, and ask them to. This is internal rotation. Right here are the hips, and just ask them to see if they could feet underneath their shoulders and just see if you can take that foot and touch the bat. A lot of kids are like stuck. The cheat code. Well, the kid, I see the kid and he's like standing with his back foot already in internal rotation. He's internal rotation limited because he's got his back foot pinched in. It's like, dude, you're going the wrong way. You need to turn that thing out, create more space. Right? So a lot of times they can't create separation. It might be a hip problem. The kid who flies open, it's his front shoulder, big, like left, if you're right hand hitter, that left shoulder is the first thing to go. A lot of times with our guys and guys in the past, it's just a T-spine mobility issue. They don't do any T-spine mobility drills. And there's a million hip T-spine mobility drills on the internet, but just putting in 5 to 10 minutes of mobility work, especially if you don't do anything else, just hip and T-spine mobility, can create more of a smooth torso turn. So as they go, it's a better, smoother move instead of that left shoulder, front shoulder peeling out of there real quick. We have a player that was the Big Ten Player of the Year 7 years ago. He came to us, he was really fast, he was an explosive dude, junior college player, high hands, tall swing, or tall stance, high hands, and would just chop down at the ball and hit the ball 105 miles an hour into the ground. His name's Jordan Brewer. So Brew, dude, you hit the ball 105 miles an hour. Like, you need to get it up, get it in the air. He's like, I know, it's hard for me. And, coaches, because of my speed, just told me to just hit it on the ground and, leg it out. I was like, well, that's great, but, we got to find a way to, flatten that swing out, because he's literally like this. And we tested he's a right-handed hitter, and we tested his right shoulder external rotation. And he was stuck at right there. He couldn't externally rotate his right shoulder. And we're like, what's the deal? He goes, oh, that's my football injury shoulder. I tore my labrum in a football injury, and I have 7 anchors in it. I was like, shit, that's not good, But for him, how's he supposed to match swing plane to pitch plane? He can't do this. How's he supposed to slot this and do what we're asking him to do, or create the best swing for himself? So he widened out, he lowered his hands. I don't know if that's what it was, but he ended up being a really good player, and we had to overcome that. That was a mobility issue, not a swing issue. Right? And then you just listen for the whoosh with a lot of our players. I don't know why kids today have such stiff wrists, but all kinds of different wrist mobility drills you just test them on. But it's just listen for the whoosh. Do they make the whoosh over the strike zone, over contact? We have plenty of players where you hear the whoosh at the follow through, because they're so worried about this and this uphill tilted swing, and then the whoosh is over there. It's like, well, we don't want the whoosh up there at the follow through. We want the whoosh right here. And so we'll give them a tennis racket, badminton racket. I grabbed Tristan McClatty, literally 3 weeks ago, we went and got a branch from the Seneca River, because we didn't have any tennis rackets or badminton rackets. He was literally swinging a stick, and he was just going whoosh, 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 but feeling it, unlock his wrists and just get those wrists firing. It's crazy how much power the wrists can unlock. When you transfer all that energy from the ground, and that vertical thrust, and then into the rotary cord, and into the arms, and then the wrists block it because your wrists are stiff. And kids are taping their wrists because they think it looks cool, and it's making them more stiff. It doesn't make any sense. So this is something to be cognizant of. All right. Yellow lights. This is part of a 3-month mental game teaching, but yellow lights is the thing that derails most players the most. And we big subscribers to Ken Revisa's Heads Up Baseball traffic light system, green, yellow, red, but yellow lights, so many different ways to get yellow lights. More ways now than when Ken Revisa wrote the book for players today to go into yellow lights. And yellow lights is, basically think of a traffic light system, and yellow is like that cautionary light. Well, with green, you're in automatic zone. You've gone automatic. You're not thinking. You're in the flow state. You're in the zone. No thought, or it's just like your swing or pitch thought that keeps you locked in. But yellow lights is when the shit is starting to hit the fan. A lot of times somebody else does it to you, like umpires with bad calls, or fans heckling, or they read something online, social media, they read a post or whatever, someone's talking trash. So there's all these uncontrollables, and you guys all know the circle of uncontrollables: attitude, perspective, effort, and what you can control, and then the millions of things you can't control. And when one of those things comes into play, those yellow lights are from somebody else doing it to you. Most commonly, umpires, weather, equipment failure sends them spiraling. But more often than ever, I see yellow lights are internal now with kids. And it's, the brain doesn't recognize the word don't think about pink elephants. You think about pink elephants. So, they don't chase this slider, and the brain visualizes chasing a slider. Don't hang this breaking ball. It's just the visualization is a hung breaking ball. So don't is a problem. The 3 Ps happen a lot. Primal, prayer, perfect. Most of our players get primal because we're coaches, which means we, weren't good enough, and we were try-hards, so we would white knuckle the bat and the ball too. And the baseball is one of those screwed up sports where the harder you try, the worse it gets. But a lot of the kids get primal. They think, try harder, more effort, and it ends up being counterintuitive, counterproductive. Right? Because like golf, the fastest swing and the most explosive bat speed is not going to be at 100% effort. It's going to be more somewhere in the 80 to 90% range. But when things start to unravel for these kids, they crank up to that primal deal. Prayer is just like how it sounds. You're putting your hope and faith into something other than you. And that's great when it comes to God, and it's terrible when it comes to, I hope this guy doesn't throw me another breaking ball, right? And when you get in prayer mode, that's a bad place to be, because now your outcome is based on somebody else and what they do. And perfect is where we see a lot of pitchers, and then some hitters too, but you think the conditions and your mechanics and everything has to be perfect. And these are the guys that one little mechanical thing is off, and it's just like their day's done because everything has to be so. It's just not the way it works, right? So primal prayer, perfect. And then more often in the last 10 years than ever before, you can blame it on whatever you want to blame it on, but automatic negative thoughts, we call them ants. There is no turning these off. There is no stopping these. We just try to drown them out with the right stuff, but these pop in. That's why they can't, that's why there's no, because they literally just pop in their head. And we all know the hardest, the person who crushes these kids the most is themselves. And I tell them all the time, how the hell are we supposed to compete against North Carolina or South Carolina, or whoever we're playing, when the toughest opponent you're facing is in your own head? This is insane, right? It's like, you're conjuring up this. Nothing was done to you. You're doing it to yourself. But a lot of the ants, there are no telling what's causing some of it. All of them are, for the most part, good kids. Don't want to disappoint and have this high performance anxiety, whether it's a fear of failure, disappointing their coaches or teammates, or just they don't want to look stupid. We didn't have to deal with being on Barstool Sports for doing something stupid. These kids do. They look stupid, and whatever they did is blown up all over social media. So we have to have some strategies for these yellow lights. Knowing that we're not going to turn off these automatic negative thoughts are coming. There's no way to turn them off. It's like a car alarm that's going off, and you just don't want to hear that like loud and in your face. You just want to get it to where it's maybe background noise. So we do some strategies for this. One is called the thought stop technique. So the first strategy, when they are aware that they're using self-talk with don't, they're getting primal prayer perfect, they've got some of this negative self-talk that's populating their head, this automatic negative thoughts, or the umpire screwed them, or the fans are on them, or they read something on social media, whatever it is, all right, and they recognize it in the moment. Step one in the thought stop techniques, visualize a stop sign. Step two is literally out loud, say the word stop. I'm umpiring behind Jacob Gerald, and he'll miss a pitch, he'll go, stop! And I'm like, what's the matter? Oh, you're doing the drill. You got it. Okay, good. You're fine. Everything's fine. And then the third is, these kids all wear these plastic bands, and just give it a snap. Just give it a snap. And visualize stop sign, say the word stop, snap the rubber band, just get them back into that present moment, kind of that pattern interrupt, that pattern disruption, and just kind of get them locked back in. That's the thought stop technique. Strategy number 2 is what we call name it to tame it. And this is where you don't internalize it. It's not I suck, it's I'm having a thought that I suck. Right? And this is a big deal for these kids to recognize that this is just a passing thought in their head. It's not who they are. Like, we're all about to get crushed with crappy weather over the next few days. Well, it's not that South Carolina always has crappy weather. We just got a storm system moving in. And it's the same thing with name it to tame it. It's just like, oh, that's a storm system passing through. Those are thoughts that I'm having. It's not who I am. It's not me. They're passing through. I recognize that I'm having those thoughts. I'm labeling it as that, so they don't internalize it and start to spiral out of control from there. And then the third one is Ken Revises flush it. You physically do a release. You turn your back to home plate. You turn your back to the rubber. And you physically do something. If you're a hitter, you unstrap your batting gloves, take your helmet off, kick dirt, you spin, you do something. All right, pitchers, take their glove off, take their hat off, whatever, kick dirt, doesn't matter. They just got to somehow symbolize they're flushing the previous pitch. That pitch has a lifespan of its own, a beginning and an end, and if you can get rid of it and move on to the next one, you can maybe win that next pitch. So those are the three strategies: stop, thought, technique, name it to tame it, and a physical release. But those, all of it, no matter what you do, we train it to where you can do it in 4 seconds. We have a 12-second clock as hitters. Pitchers have a 20, but hitters have a 12-second clock. And from seconds 12 to 9, they got to instantly know if they're in green or yellow. If they're in yellow, they got to do something to get out of that, get the sign, and then all the down-regulating techniques of mental game, where they find their focal point, and the breathing and the visualization and the self-talk, which are seconds, like 8 through 0, and getting them ready to compete happen after that. But this goes quick. So you'd imagine how much we have to rep it to where it becomes automatic. This isn't like, one classroom session and we got it. We do this every day since October when we first introduced it, and we're implementing it all the time. We video it, we film it, and we just have to be able to handle those moments. If we're going to be the team that's going to be the team, we're going to be in the middle of it. We got to run head first towards it, and we got to be able to slow the game down. Usually when we do our warrior dial, most of our guys are trying to down-regulate. They're trying to calm down, right? Because the moment is happening. It's big, right? And then there's some times where, there's not that, it's bad weather. We don't have a big crowd. Now they got to dial it up. Now they got to, it's kind of like what you see guys do. Different breathing strategies, different technique when you get ready to pump yourself up, do a heavy lift, 1 rep max, and that's the kind of stuff we're doing. But most of our guys on a warrior dial of 0 to 100, right? Warrior dial should be one of these nuggets because we use it all the time. The 0 to 100 warrior dial, where do you perform at your best? Are you chill guy 30, or are you like redlining Blake Wright, play with a boner 95? Right? And so if you're a guy that's like, hey, I'm kind of in the middle, well, I need to be kind of neutral to play well, then why are you slamming Red Bulls and Monsters before you take them out? Right? So knowing where you are on your dial, being able to dial it up, dial it down really important. All right, HWA plays, I love these, and I had so many of these, and these are so fun. HWA is how to win awareness. And again, every one of our kids, Clemson players, your players, they have us and they have their guy. And they have their pitching coach and they have their hitting coach. They have their facility guy, and that it's just the way it is. And that facility guy doesn't have a scoreboard in his facility. So we're the only ones that have to teach these kids, that get to teach these kids how to play baseball and how to be a winning player that makes winning plays to help the team win. It's really important. And so we call them out. And when guys do cool stuff, we'll see, HWA play and put it on the video, show it the next day in the classroom. But I can't understate these enough. This one is just your typical base runner, bonehead, not looking in on a steal. Middle infield realizes he's not looking in on a steal, ball's put in play. Second baseman, we've had some really good second basemen over the last few years that high HWA, and Deke in the middle prevented a run. And this is just some random scrimmage. Just watch the second baseman. Ball's to the fence in right field. Guy has to hold up at third. Right. Nobody's there. It's last year before we got the turf. Right, but he's not playing. He's not playing some random Tuesday night in October. He's playing. This is game on the line postseason. Riley Bertram, second baseman. He did this all the time our first year. I love this play. He and Caden Grice, he threw it over there every time. Everyone knew we were going to do that every time. And it's just that one time it works. First base coach gets really mad about that. Riley Bertram again. We've done a hit ball trick every year. I don't know if we did one this year. I think everyone's, on guard for it. But this play right here turned our entire season around in year one. We were 2-8 in this game. Our ACC record was 2-8 on this Saturday at Florida State. Blake Wright's got the ball. Riley Bertram told Ethan Darden, don't go on the mound. Blake Wright's over there playing with his nuts. If you're going to gamble, play poker with Blake Wright and starts fiddling with his nuts, you better fold. He's got something. And he's just waiting for the moment. I don't know how they didn't see that. Even the fans were like, third base got the ball. But it worked. And it literally, our guys got so fired up, and then it catapulted us. His play is one of my favorite plays. You guys probably know Jim Pizzolatto, agent for Forest Court. I don't know, 10 years ago, he says, hey, we were talking baseball, and he's like, this is like, lightning delay, Lake Point, typical. And we're talking strategy, we're talking shop, we're shooting the breeze. And he goes, hey, let me tell you about this play. And so we've nicknamed it the Piz play for the last 10 years. Runner on second or first and second. Doesn't matter the outs. Third baseman and catcher give this nonverbal. And basically what they're doing is any ground ball to the right side. Catcher vacates home plate, backs up first, third base rotates down. Anything thrown away, normally that runner on second scores all day long. All day long. But if the catcher backs up and the third baseman has home, now that guy can't score. It's my favorite play. We won a game because the other team didn't do it, and it only might show up once a year, once every 5 years. I don't know how many times it's going to show up, but every time there's first and second, or second, third base and catcher, give that, and the third baseman has to rotate down to the plate, catcher backs up on a ground ball to the right side line. And you especially see it first and second, nobody out, bunt play. Bunt, now third baseman's got to field the bunt, totally different, but you'll see the bunt or you'll see a soft hit where the first baseman or the second baseman is hitting the pitcher on the run. Those ones are thrown away all the time, as you guys know. And having the catcher there to back up and the third baseman at home has saved our butts a lot. This last one, third base coaching. I stopped coaching third base in 2015 because I'd get everyone thrown out. And so Coach Schnabel coaches third base now since 2015. I literally send everybody. I just have no stops. And Jerry Weinstein is a good friend and mentor, someone, being from, if you notice, I got gelled hair, talk fast, tight shirt. This is my California roots. I can't help it. But he's a great friend, and anytime I get nuggets, it's usually come from him. His Twitter is an awesome follow. J1 catching, unbelievable follow. But this was from him. Coaching third. When I was coaching third, I would literally be racing the runner like down the third base line, wheeling them and going nuts, right? And everybody in the ballpark knew we were sending them. I mean, as soon as the ball was hit, come on, let's go, and I'm windmill. And Jerry had a great idea, and we've been doing this for the last 10 years. When Nick Schnabel coaches third base now, when he is screaming and yelling and just couldn't be more animated for the guy to score, he stands there like this. Or like this. And you think, holy smokes, that third base coach isn't even paying attention. Well, he only stops him. He only tells him to stand or get down or over here or over there. If we want him to score, tranquilo. He doesn't make a move. Because the opposing catcher is checking, he's looking at the base runner. If he sees that third base coach going nuts like I used to, like an idiot, he can more easily make that call. But third base coach, not doing anything, but that means to the hitter, and we have to practice this because the last thing you want is a guy hitting the base and then turning his head and trying to pick up the ball. He just needs to know that means go, go, go. So that was a big deal. And we all know Coach Dolman. He's hilarious. He'd say, hey, it's not that hard, big guy. Just send the fast guys, stop the slow guys. And Jerry Weinstein had a great analogy. He's like, always send them if it's a grass, dirt, grass ball. He's like, what do you mean? It's like, well, base hit that goes grass, dirt, grass. It's going to be more of a slow developing play. Obviously, line drive, one hopper to the outfield. Your runner's not even at third base yet. You're holding that guy up every time. But the grass, dirt, grass ball that's on the ground, because you can send that guy and he'll be safe. Unless he's, slow runner, good arm, a lot of things go into play. When it's a low line drive, dirt to grass, that's when you really have to make a decision as a third base coach. Outfielder's arm, your runner's speed. That's where it comes into play. But grass, dirt, grass, send. Just grass to outfielder, stop. Send the fast guys, stop the slow guys. But those are some nuggets. That's what I got for you. I would love to take questions. Appreciate your time. Best of luck to all of you in 2026.